The WNBA season starts in less than a month, and there's a lot going on. The draft is tonight, and the Aces have been busy in free agency, making moves seeking to win a fourth title in 5 years. From the re-signings to the draft and league expansion, we're talking all things WNBA and Aces. Sin City Beat starts right now.
From Las Vegas, this is Sin City Beat.
Hello and welcome. This is Sin City Beat. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. I'm your host, Mike Davis. Sin City Beat is the show that dissects the Vegas sports world through the eyes of the sports reporters and storytellers leading the charge. Joining the action on the panel today, we have Tony Cordasco, sports host with Odyssey Las Vegas, Ray Brewer, managing editor with the Las Vegas Sun, and Steve Cofield, host of Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas. So thanks so much for being here, guys. So let's get right into it. The Aces making moves, starting with their core, Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray. Aces president and GM Nikki Fargas started with guard Jackie Young, a key piece to the 3 titles they have. The 27-year-old signed a historic one-year, $1.19 million deal, making her the first player in WNBA history to sign a 7-figure deal. Then Fargas re-signed the 6-time All-Star and 4-time champ Chelsea Gray. Gray agreed to a 3-year, $3 million contract. So Steve, how big was it for the Aces to re-sign that core tandem?
Well, it's a good start, and obviously A'ja Wilson's going to get the max at 1.4. And now the question is, can you have $3 million players on one roster when the salary cap, what's the top number, $7 million? Can you put together a team? And I know we're going to go through the rest of the team, but they don't have a lot of money to put together the rest of the team. But they've been top-heavy pretty much their entire existence, and it worked last year.
Yeah, I mean, and do you feel like if you have A'ja, you have Chelsea, you have Jackie, you're always going to be competing with those 3?
It's a good question. I mean, last year they were 14-14 at one point, and they finished out with 16 straight wins to end the season. So is it the true indicator of the end of the season or the beginning of the season? So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, now more than ever, nailing someone in the draft at 26 or 38, and then free agency and those extra pieces, and then bench additions throughout the year. I mean, you got to nail it personnel-wise.
Yeah, role players are key definitely when it comes to the hardwood. Tony, what about you, your take on all this? Did you see in any way where Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray wouldn't be back?
No, I thought all along that they would be back. It's just they're signing them to 3-year deals, and I don't know what the life of those players is going to be for 3 years. That's my biggest concern. And then today we're signing a bunch of other players. They announced the Jewel Lloyd signing. Yeah. And the thing about it is, like, I think they're top heavy with their salaries, right? Because you have 3 at $1 million, and then Jewel Lloyd coming in at $800,000. I think she's getting overpaid because she wasn't good in the starting lineup last year. They had to move her. She was on the bench for the second half of the season pretty much. And I think they're overpaying him. I think there's going to be a top heaviness to this team. Nalissa Smith is another one. I mean, they're signing all of these players, right? And a lot of the players are coming back from last year, but I'm not quite sure in 2 years plus if this is going to be a contending team or are they going to be an aging team.
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing is, I think right now you're still trying to maximize this championship window, and you can see what you can do. I mean, A'ja's still in her prime, but I think it's about maximizing and trying to, get another title. 4 and 5 years would be pretty spectacular. Ray, what about you? Did you love both of these signings?
So as long as A'ja Wilson's on the roster, they could have signed anybody, and they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
and then once you get into the playoffs, you really have a great home court edge here in Vegas because, they sell out Mandalay Bay for every game. And you've got the best player in the world in A'ja Wilson. So everybody else is kind of auxiliary pieces. You kind of saw last year, you mentioned they were at 500 and then they kind of flipped another switch. Well, A'ja Wilson flipped that other switch and she got them going. Am I concerned that they don't have a first pick in tonight's draft, a first round pick?
Yeah.
Absolutely. They didn't have one in 2025. So you could argue that, okay, in 3 years from now, what's it going to be? But who cares about 3 years from now? Yeah. You've won 3 of the last 4. You've got the best player. Take it year by year. Be veteran heavy, right? Veterans do well in the playoffs, right? Keep them revigorated and energized, and don't wear them out in the meaningless regular season. Get Asia to the playoffs and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. And a lot of these guys, I mean, just proven winners, especially Jewel Lloyd as well. So we'll be getting into all that. But, from the star players to the role players, the Aces management has also made sure to lock up some key role players. We're breaking down those signings next.
You're watching Sin City Beat.
All-stars take you to the playoffs, role players win you championships, and the Aces got to work in free agency. 4 critical signings to discuss here when it comes to what they did. So guard Dana Evans, forward Nalissa Smith, forward Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, and guard Jewel Lloyd signing a 3-year contract. So Ray, let's start with Lloyd, a proven winner, former #1 overall pick. Did you like that move? Because a lot of people are thinking that may have been too long of a commitment.
Well, I know my friend over here, Mr. Cordasco, is not on the Jewel Lloyd fan club.
No, not at 800,000.
But let's keep
Spread it
everything
out.
in perspective. The Aces do a good job of kind of keeping their core together and what's worked. And it worked. They got hot at the end. They won the championship, and she has a certain role. Now, I don't know if she's worth 800,000, but in terms of just keeping the train going down the tracks and making Asia feel comfortable with the players around her,
Yeah.
it's a decent signing. And all those free agencies or players 6 through 10 on your bench, all you got to do is give some energy, be a great practice player, don't be a problem.
Right.
And when Asia needs a quarter off, or when Chelsea needs a quarter off, go in there and be serviceable to get the Aces to the playoffs.
I think you're insulting women's basketball right now. Seriously.
Why?
You just assume that Asia Wilson and the other core players, they can win it without a bench. They don't need any help. You basically just suggested just stay out of the way. The Denver Nuggets, arguably, I don't think it's an argument, they have the best player in the world.
Right.
They don't win the championship every year because in the past, Michael Malone didn't manage the bench well. He and Booth, the GM, both got fired last year. Their bench wasn't good enough. They didn't use their bench well enough.
And the
a
year
bench
they
is
did
important.
win.
It's also,
In the
if
playoffs,
you
the
look-
bench is important?
Yeah.
there's less game. You have less time off.
Yeah,
you have
but
3
you're
games a
only
week during the
playing 8
regular
guys
season.
every playoff game.
You need depth, and the other thing is,
You need
as
strong
we've-
rotation,
As we've
too.
seen in the NBA, the playoffs can be a war of attrition. So if anyone gets dinged up, you're going to
Right.
need some bench players. Now, I'm not anti-Jewel Lloyd at that number. I think it's way too early to analyze salaries like other sports. We don't know what these salaries even mean in this new era where the salaries have gone up 6-fold. So if they believe that they can have the lion's share of the money invested in 4 players and Alyssa Smith getting a good amount of money, like I said a couple minutes ago, now it's very important. The draft is important. Now, they've been not anti-draft, but they haven't really needed players immediately out of the draft. They have to get some players who come out of the draft who are productive. I think the bench is important,
No,
especially
bench-
in a season
in
that is more
basketball-
condensed now.
In basketball, bench, and that's why I started off this segment saying role players win you championships because, we've seen when the Bucks won with Giannis, they had a great bench. They had a lot of depth. When the Denver Nuggets won, it was the same kind of thing. I do think you need that franchise player to
But
even
the
get
Aces
you to
have
the
won
playoffs.
3 championships with a core 3 and the bench doing very little, correct?
It has worked.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I do
It
think
has
That's
worked.
their-
But to Tony-
that's
but to
their-
Tony's
their
point,
chemistry
they're aging,
experiment.
so there's a possibility of injuries. There's a possibility of some wear and tear. There's a possibility of a drop-off.
Yeah, but I do think Jewel Lloyd having that pedigree, being a proven winner, there's a lot of things that she added coming off the bench and a lot of things in that
And
way.
remember a year ago, sorry to keep going on, but the Liberty and the Lynx had excellent seasons, and they fell apart at the end of the season because they got injured, because they had some wear and tear. Obviously, the Lynx had the most serious injury.
Why don't, Tony, you don't like the number at 800,000 a year? To me, let me pose this to you. A lot of this, to me, with that number, it's like kind of the Oscars when, Al Pacino wins for Son of a Woman, but he really should have won for something else, but they give you an honorary Oscar because all these years he should have won for like The Godfather,
Right.
But it's your turn to win, so you're going to win for a lesser film. So she kind of deserved a contract, being a former #1 overall pick, a person who's won
That's
multiple
fair.
times. Do you think it's baked
But
in,
they
that
said,
contract's
but
baked
they
into
said,
that?
They said a role
Lifetime
player.
achievement contract.
I mean, in a
They
sense,
sent a player
do you
like
think?
a Kia Stokes packing. They did sign another player, 6'2", forward from the Liberty, Stephanie Talbot, the Australian, who's going to help on the board. So that was a late addition. I'm concerned they don't have a number 2 guard, really a shooting guard right now in a presence.
More so than you're okay with the backcourt. You're more concerned with the backcourt than the front court?
Oh, yeah,
because I think
sure.
they're guard heavy, this team.
Well,
right?
they keep adding pieces, and Melissa Smith, we've seen what she could do. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus was pregnant last year. Remember, she came back to the team in July, and she played in China in the offseason. She had like a 31-piece and averaged over 20 points per game. And so let's see what she could do as she worked herself back into playing shape, if you will. They're big on the front line. The shooting guard, and they didn't shoot the ball very well, especially during that dry spell early in the season, really was of a great concern to me.
Okay, all right. It's great to get that insight. Guys, the WNBA Draft is going down tonight. Insight on the 3 rounds ahead, plus which rookie will make the biggest impact. We'll be right back. There might not be a headlining star player in the number 1 spot of the WNBA Draft, but perhaps the featured star will be the payday that the number 1 overall selection will receive. Get this, Caitlin Clark, her rookie salary after being selected first overall, that was $76,000. Last year, after Paige Beckers was taken first overall, she made $78,000 as a rookie. And tonight, the first overall pick will earn a base salary of $500,000, a massive increase thanks to the new collective bargaining agreement. So, Tony, what do you think about this significant progress, and what's your prediction on who goes number 1 overall tonight?
I think it's Azzi Fudd, of course, from the University of Connecticut, but my thoughts were I thought they should have had a gradual step rather than going from $76,000 to $500,000. All of a sudden, again, this is a league that doesn't make money, right? They're still working at a loss. And so how do you justify, boy, they did a great job negotiating. I'll take nothing away from them. And a $7 million cap, phenomenal. I think the Aces have probably around $2 million left right now. But to me, I just thought there should have been a gradual step in between rather than going from here to soaring. And it's just like, they were at the bargaining table a lot. And what do? They just said, okay, whatever you want at the end. Were they tired? I don't know, because they gave up a lot of concessions. And in business, I didn't think that it was the best deal for the league. I did not.
I mean, with the expansion on the horizon, which we'll get to in the next block, there's going to be payouts with all that kind of stuff, which will help. But Ray, what's your take on the draft tonight and perhaps just that $500,000 payday?
So I think that we get great joy out of watching sports, right? Baseball, football, basketball, whatever it may be. Women's basketball. We love the WNBA here, right? We were the first team to sell out all the tickets. And I don't know the league's economics chapter and verse like you guys do, but I do know that these are athletes, and you can't have Ohtani making $70 million this year and 10 WNBA teams making equal of that. And I just think it's a great deal for sports. And we always talk about equity, and in college sports, it's governed by Title IX. It's not our money. Who cares, right? And if it gives the opportunity for a better product that we enjoy watching, especially in the summer, there's nothing going on. It's great to take our daughters to a WNBA. And again, I'm blessed with a daughter, and you guys aren't. But for me to be able to take my daughter to a game and know that these women are getting paid a little better than $76,000 for the entertainment, I think that's a good thing.
I mean, most people at home are like, these guys have so much in common. 4 white dudes with 4 glasses. But
no, but it's
sorry
to
throw
the daughter
card.
Maybe.
We've got 8 eyes on it, bro.
We have a lot of eyes on it. Let's talk about this wrinkle, Steve, because I think this is fascinating. The love connection potential here. You want to discuss that?
Well, Paige Beckers and Azzi Fudd are in a relationship, and I find that fascinating about the league, that this is the only league that openly we kind of know who is dating each other, or could be married to each other. And I was asking you the question during the break, like, with your significant other, would you want to work with them?
Right.
I think that's a dynamic that needs to be discussed. I believe Melissa Smith, away from her SO, became a better player, grew up, got in better shape. So everyone's different. Some people can coexist. They drive each other. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know that that's going to go into the Dallas decision. I think Betts is certainly worth a look. I think what TCU has Miles. I think she's a tremendous player. So I don't think that will be a factor. But there's also the other side of this. You also want to make your star player and your franchise player and Paige Beckers happy. And if she wants AZ Fudd on the team, I'm not saying they're jumping her up from the 11th projected pick. She's a candidate for number one.
I think it's a really fascinating conversation. And I think we see this a lot, of course, like Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? His brother, right, will get an NBA contract a lot of times just because they want to make Giannis happy. And it's not so much because his brother is a great contributor on the floor. It's just like, yeah, let's make him happy. So, I would assume Paige Beckers, being a former number one pick, being the face of the franchise, I would assume she would have say in what that would be. But I don't know. Maybe
you save on rooms, right? That's one fewer room that you have to pay for.
I just think it probably is likely that it would happen. Is she the favorite, Fudd?
She is the favorite.
Yeah, she's a favorite.
But it's not guaranteed.
I want to see what Laura Betts does.
Do you think
in this
Bronny is
league.
playing with the Lakers to make LeBron happy?
Of course.
I've said that in the past, yes. But
He's been good lately.
He's been pretty good. It's a little different. I think there's all different aspects to this. Seth Curry is an NBA player. He doesn't need to be in the league because of Steph, right? Seth can play. I do think Giannis's brother, that's a good example of just taking on a contract because you're trying to make your star happy. So we'll see what happens. But guys, from the free agency to the draft, the next topic we need to tackle, it's expansion. That's when Sin City Beat returns. Welcome back to Sin City Beat. So we know that the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire will kick off their inaugural seasons this year, but 3 more teams are set to enter the league, with Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia on the way in each of the next 3 seasons. So Steve, there's a lot of differing takes on WNBA expansion. Do you think the league is expanding too quickly and that the talent pool could suffer with all this expansion?
No, I think they've needed to expand for years. I think there's plenty of talent. There's plenty of college talent. There's plenty of talent around the world. By the way, with the growth of the WNBA and now competitive salaries, they're going to be able to pull from the world. They haven't done a great job of pulling from the world pot of players because they haven't had competitive salaries. So now that the salaries are up there, they're going to get players from all over the world. So they're going to need spots. And it's dreadful and kind of embarrassing in the last few years when you'd have players who were first-round picks can't make rosters. Part of what the WNBA is doing is to grow the sport. So you need more teams and more player spots.
Yeah, it makes sense, Ray. I know you feel strongly in the opposite direction.
So,
share your thoughts.
Well, I agree with Steve on 2 points. Definitely with the first-round picks having a hard time get on rosters. And the talent from overseas is there. We just don't get to see it enough because they're making more money playing in China or Russia in the offseason. With any expansion, Steve and Mike and Tony.
Oh, thanks.
You worry about, is there enough players to populate the rosters and keep the quality of competition there? And Steve thinks yes, and he makes very good points. But I think teams only are successful if they have that marquee player that you could throw on a billboard that kids want to emulate and be after. Nobody wants to go watch a team that doesn't have an Asia Wilson or a Caitlin Clark or whomever. And is there enough quality players in the world to have 15 faces of franchises?
I think he nails something here, and this is where I think they've gaffed. Going back to last year, they allow the current teams to protect too many players. The protection list should be like 4. Because you need new franchises coming in. This model of having a franchise come in and go 11-29 or whatever, they play 44 games, so you get my point. But having teams that could be bad for 4 and 5 years, not healthy for any sport. VGK is the best example ever, right? They were good out of the gates because the protected list was very small. But now, can they do that? They're going to change the rules after Portland and Toronto have to draft under one rule, and then 3 new teams come in and get only 4 protected players?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Tony, what's your
I
take?
will tell you that in the past, a lot of the players that were here and that got drafted, remember players got drafted late first round, second, and that was it. They got cut after, congratulations, right? They do go through all the fanfare on draft night, and then they can't even play in the league. They have to go play somewhere else. So to Steve's point, yes, we do have more talent, but is it going to be quality talent? Only time will tell. I'm looking forward to seeing like Aaliyah Nye, who was sent unprotected to Toronto, and then Megan Gustafson, former ace, now with Portland. So looking forward to see how they do once they play different roles, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think these are three good cities, but you know, what you were saying, Ray, I mean, even in the NBA, not every NBA franchise has a person who can be on a billboard and draw you to come see a game. I mean, Cade Cunningham, I love watching him, and I think he's tremendous, but I don't think he's a Steph Curry, a Giannis, a Jokic. I mean, so nobody's...
Totally agree with you. The NBA, though, kind of sells itself. But the WNBA, they've made such great strides in the last 2 or 3 years with the participation and the crowds and the excitement and seeing what we've long known in Vegas, right? Now you put a team in Toronto that doesn't have anybody, and maybe Toronto people just don't show up. And then that goes and hurts the league. Yeah. The NBA, you know, if you're in a pro city... Well, maybe.
But I mean, it's hurting the.
I got to not.
I like Ray's point though on the star player thing, and let's do a 90 show tease, right? 90 shows from now, we're going to be talking about the NBA having really stupid rules, and Las Vegas and Seattle don't have a chance to have a superstar because they overprotect the existing rosters.
Yeah, I mean it's a thing, and I think we're seeing it all over throughout all sports. So. We'll see what happens, but tonight, no first-round pick for the Aces. We'll see what they do in that second and third round.
Shooting guard.
I want to thank everybody, Ray, Tony, Steve. Thanks so much for joining us here on Sin City Beat. I'm Mike Davis for our whole team. Daphne, James, editor, Jess, Ryan. We'll see you next time here on Sin City Beat. Thanks so much for joining us.